Welcome to Quick Course Digest. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on something that acts like the central nervous system for so many modern businesses: Enterprise Resource Planning, or, as you'll usually hear it, ERP. It's the powerful software that promises to take total business chaos and turn it into a smooth, well-oiled machine. So let's find out how it does that.
So, picture this for a second. You've got a booming e-commerce company. Orders are flying in, things should be great, right? But behind the scenes, it is absolute chaos. Your sales team just confidently sold a product that, oops, the warehouse actually ran out of yesterday. Finance is drowning in a sea of spreadsheets just trying to figure out if the company is even profitable this month. And customer service, they're just getting hammered with emails about lost orders. This, right here, is the problem of disconnection.
And this chaos has a name. It's called the silo effect. It's when finance is working in its own little world, sales is using a totally separate app, and the warehouse, well, they might as well be tracking inventory on a chalkboard. Each department basically becomes its own isolated island. And the result is always the same: constant miscommunication, really expensive mistakes, and absolutely no way to get a clear, big-picture view of what's actually going on.
So, that leads to the big question, right? What if you could build a superhighway connecting all of these separate islands? What if crucial information could just flow instantly and accurately between every single part of the business? Well, that's exactly the promise of an ERP.
And that brings us right to the solution. We need to think of an ERP system as the central hub of the business. It's designed to be that single source of truth, connecting everything and everyone, from the very first moment a customer clicks buy, all the way to the second that package lands on their doorstep.
So what is enterprise resource planning exactly? Well, at its core, it's software that helps companies manage all their day-to-day stuff. But the real magic word here, the one you need to remember, is integrate. It takes all those different business functions, finance, HR, the supply chain, and weaves them all together into one single, complete system.
When you boil it all down, an ERP really does three huge things for a business. First, as we said, it integrates everything. Second, it automates all those boring, routine tasks, which frees up your team to do more important work. And third, it gives you incredible tools for data analysis, so you get real-time insights to make much smarter decisions. Now, don't think of an ERP as just one giant piece of software. It's really more like a collection of specialized modules that all talk to each other. You've got your finance module, one for HR, another for the whole supply chain, and of course, one for managing your customers, your CRM. Each one is an expert in its own area, but here's the key: they all pull from and feed into the same central database. That's how, when a sale is made, inventory is instantly updated, and finance sees that revenue pop up in real time. It's all connected.
Okay, so you're starting to see the power here. But not all ERPs are built the same. And one of the first and biggest decisions a company has to make is, where is this massive system actually going to live? And that brings us to the two main flavors: running it on your own servers, which we call on-premise, versus running it in the cloud.
This table really breaks down the options. With an on-premise ERP, you own it all: the hardware, the software, the whole shebang. This gives you total control, which is why huge companies with serious security needs often go this route. Then you've got cloud-based ERP, which is more like a subscription service. A vendor handles everything for you. It's way more flexible and affordable upfront, making it perfect for smaller, growing businesses. And of course, there's a hybrid approach, which lets companies kind of mix and match to get the best of both worlds.
All right, this is all great in theory, but what does an ERP actually look like when it's put to the test in the real world? Let's dig into a fantastic case study of a company that used an ERP to completely turn its business around.
So back in the early 2000s, Nike was already a global giant, but they had this massive problem. Their supply chain was a total mess. They were making way too many of the shoe models nobody really wanted, and not nearly enough of the ones that were flying off the shelves. This was costing them a fortune in lost sales and excess inventory.
So what did Nike do? They went all in. They implemented a huge ERP system from a company called SAP. The whole goal was to connect everything, from the factories making the shoes, to the warehouses storing them, to the retail stores selling them. And the result? It was absolutely transformative. For the first time, they had a crystal clear view of their entire global supply chain. They could finally make the right shoes in the right amounts, slashing their costs, and making a lot of customers very happy.
Now, Nike's story is an incredible success, but let's be real for a second. Implementing an ERP is not a walk in the park. It's a monumental undertaking. So it's super important to look at this with a balanced view, to see both the amazing benefits and the very, very real hurdles.
First, let's talk about the upside, because when an ERP is implemented well, it really works. Automation frees your people up from soul-crushing manual work, which just skyrockets efficiency. When everyone is working from the same real-time data, your decisions get faster and a whole lot smarter. It builds a foundation that can scale as you grow, and maybe most importantly, it forces true collaboration.
But then, there are the hurdles, and they are significant. For one, ERP systems are expensive. We're talking a major investment. They are incredibly complex to set up. Getting all your old data moved over is a beast of a project, and you better make sure that data is clean before you move it, or you're in for a world of pain. And honestly, maybe the biggest challenge of all is just managing the change. Getting your own employees to stop doing things the old way and actually embrace the new system.
So here's the bottom line. An ERP system absolutely has the potential to be a game changer for a business. It can streamline everything you do and give you a serious competitive edge. But, and this is a big but, that success is never ever guaranteed. It all comes down to incredibly careful planning, a huge investment of time and money, and getting your entire team to buy in.
And that kind of brings us to our final thought. As you go about your day, think about this. Where are the disconnected islands in your world? What daily chaos at your job could be solved if there were just one central hub? Because the principles we've talked about are everywhere, just waiting to bring a little bit of order to the chaos.